Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Let's Talk About Market episode number 77. And if we see today, the Nifty index did correct, and it was largely because of Reliance, which was down 4%. So overall, the thing that is happening is that some sectors are coming back to life. Some sectors are supporting, some are not, and that way the Nifty index is more or less sideways. But internally, a lot of movement is happening, and I just want to today point out those sectors basically where some moves are happening, and basically what are the setups that you need to look out for, because this is becoming more and more stock specific now. And at some point of time, some may move up, some may move down, and that way it is leading to a sideways movement in the Nifty index. But a lot seems to be happening beneath the surface. So where is it that you need to concentrate? I mean, that is what the discussion point will be. Let me share my screen quickly, and please, if someone can confirm if they're able to see my screen. If someone can just comment in the chat box if they're able to hear me properly and see my screen. Yes, thanks Dinesh for the confirmation. So see in the Nifty index, if you see, I mean today is more like a doji sort of pattern, and mainly if you see the culprit, it's mainly Reliance. So let me just go to the heat map and show you. So if you see Nifty index, it is mainly Reliance and Trend. So of course, Trend doesn't have that much weightage, but Reliance, ITC, Kotak, I mean these three were the major culprits. And ICICI Bank bounced back, HDFC Life bounced back, so Apollo Hospital also bounced back. So more or less, if you see that within sectors also there are divergence. I mean, Tata Consumer is moving, ITC is not moving. So of course, ITC has news, but broadly, what I'm trying to say is that within sectors also there are divergence that are seen. Uh, but broadly, if you look at the kind of stocks that are trending higher, taking the support of the averages and so on. So broadly, I could think of metals. In fact, I was seeing some financial names as well, financial service name. So in that, the insurance stocks, especially the life ones, they seems to be doing well. And if we see many of the metal stocks on a weekly chart, they have been trending higher. So, I'm just giving you my observations. By no means it is a recommendation, but, just trying to, tell you how I am thinking about it, because see, firstly, if you see, okay, so let me first complete with the Nifty index. Basically what we are seeing is that there was this pullback towards the 40 and towards the previous high, and now there is an attempt to rise higher. I hope it does. Else, the worst case scenario, so the 61.8 is at 26,072. And I think, see, I had mentioned earlier as well that daily averages are the most important levels now, okay, because the Nifty index has been trending higher at the daily averages. So that's why I'm considering daily averages as the important level on the downside. A break below that will be concerning. Else, there might be a case that there might be some correction, consolidation. I don't know how, in what shape and form it will play out, because if you ask me, this was the third attempt basically to break the all-time high, right? It was over year first, then the next one was year, and it was over year as well. So I would have thought that the third time, the Nifty index should have broken out and it should have risen higher. And also we have discussed that the sentiments are also not that great. Basically, FIs are also extremely short, despite we being at an all-time high. So the setup is great for an up move. The only thing is that we are not getting those confirmation, and which is what is sort of testing the patience. But if you see many of these stocks, okay, now let me just show you the kind of stocks. So I was talking about insurance, right? You see HDFC Life, you see the weekly chart, right? Up move, consolidation, and now again an up move. In this consolidation, RMI came back to the zero line and now again rising higher. So this one. Then if you see SBI Life, again, the stock is trending higher. So this is the weekly chart, but you see the daily chart as well. I mean, it is nicely trending higher, at the averages. Similarly, I was telling you about some metal stocks as well, right? So if you see something like Gallant Aspire, this was something I was just watching. So you see over here, each time it comes back to the 40 and then turns around, there is a good chance that again it has come back to the 40 and there is a scope of a move. So of course, you will need some more confirmation in the form of RMI turning bullish and prices breaking above the averages and so on. But these are the kind of stocks which you typically should be focusing more on, because these are the ones which have sort of proven that they are outperformers by not falling much. So these could be the place. I mean, something like, I think, Sarda Energy as well. On a weekly chart, you see what is happening. Each time it is coming back to the averages and then trying to move up. So as I mentioned, you would need some confirmation, but I mean, that is how we are placed right now. And even if you see, for that matter, Tata Steel and all those guys as well, they have been trending higher at 40 and then going on. So these are the kind of setups that you need to look out for. If you want to know which are the stocks that are not breaking the 40 and so on, for that we specifically have a scanner, right? You can go to the technical scanner and go to exponential moving average, and uh, above. So I am taking 50 EMA because sometimes there are these marginal breaks. And what we would want to see is that, say for example, which are the stocks in the Nifty index, okay, that have not broken the 50 week, the 50-week moving average since. So this is 7. So I think TradingView gives as a starting date. Mm, so 11th April. Okay. So 11th April will be nothing but this low. So in this case, the 40 week should not break over here. So if we do that list of stocks and if I select all stocks, we end up getting around 31 stocks. Okay, where if you'll scroll back and you'll see these are the stocks that have not broken the 50 month. And if you want to further sort it out, like which are the outperformers, so you can see this is LTF, Muthoot Finance, Lotus Labs, Indian Bank, Paytm. Okay, these are all stocks that have not broken below the 40 week. Okay, since that, I mean, this low. So basically what I'm trying to say is that these are the probable stocks which are kind of outperformers in this move that we have seen. And each time whenever they come back towards the averages, there is some buying that is witnessed for them. So these can be the stock which should ideally be in your watch list, basically being as a strong stocks. Okay, because whenever there is a pullback, there is a buying that eventually comes back. And yeah, and that is why they feature in this list. And again, if you can see, there are all good quality names only. So this is one way. Now supposingly, if you want to even find which are the trending stocks from this low, okay, from August low. So but this, of course, we will have to check it on the daily chart. Then daily chart may above EMA, and you make it what is this? Let me just go to the daily chart and see the lowest point. So this was 8th August. 8th August, EMA. So now over here, you're just seeing, fewer stocks, and those might also not be good names. Uh, Prepared. Okay, so these are not good names. So maybe I'll try my luck with this low, because this is where the Nifty. In fact, let me just try from the other low. Okay, 29th, and see if there are some better quality companies that are coming. And for that, I'll do 29th of August, right? Even if we don't get good quality names from here, then we can definitely do it from here, from 30th September, and see. So again, there are 28 stocks now, but over here now we see Muthoot Finance, L&T Finance, Ashok Leyland, right? AB Capital, Nifty Auto features into the list, and I don't know, Minda Pool. Yeah, but there are a few more stocks that you have now got. Again, you can do those further refinement, that say which are the. I mean, you want to see very strong stocks. I mean, I don't think that might be possible. Or else I was going to do for the 20 EMA. Let us check if we are getting any. Yeah, these will be all, those kind of stocks only. Uh, so yeah, from 30th September now, if I do, I think over here now we should get a little broader basket. Okay, over here also there are still not many stocks. But yeah, I mean, this is how you can do it, and I think sticking to weekly might make more sense, and taking the lowest point, because these are the ones that have been outperforming since this low, right? And since we think that there is some major bottom that has been done over here, so the stocks which would be trending higher, from here, are the ones that are unlikely to break this important support level of 40, and they might keep rallying, right? So maybe weekly is something that you can do, and as I told you, the 40 week, the look back period that you can take is that April low of. And these can be the list of stocks which should be on your radar. Basically these are the ones that are strong stocks. Okay, and this is where you might want to concentrate, like something like Aadhar Finance. Again, it comes into the NBFC financial parts, and they have been doing well, right? Acutas, there are so many names. So I mean, see, this is how typically we try and also identify the strong stocks. And most of the stocks which we also give the recommendation to a client is mainly from this list, where we try and find good quality names. For example, Fortis was the one where recently we had you know put a post on this. You can see up move, pullback, and if you put the RMI over here, it nicely retraced back to the zero line, and from there it was then turning around, right? So these are the ones that you would want to look at. Apart from that, you can also go to the heat maps and see. In fact, there are a couple of sectors I saw today that appears to be now interesting. I think pharma was the one where after a big consolidation, it now appears to be breaking out. And even if you see the weekly chart, it has been more or less trading above the 20-week average, which is also a good sign. And moreover, this entire sideways consolidation now appears to be breaking on the upside, and all this is happening when the Nifty Pharma Index has broken out, basically from this falling trend line, right? Of course, I mean, if I have to adjust this a bit, it will be somewhere over here. But yes, more or less 40-day holding, and it's going on. So you might want to see which are the good pharma stocks, into this. And like I told you, I mean, one, if you do this relative strength analysis, there is Acutas that comes into play, because you see the weekly chart and it has been trending so well. So these are the kind of stocks that you might want to look at. So apart from the stocks that I mean, apart from the index that we have discussed last time, I mean, where it was uh, infra, then metals, and power, and so on. I think pharma can also now be put into that bucket. Of course, they are a little bit slow mover as well, but can end up becoming a good hedge as well, because they tend to do well if at all the market doesn't do well. So these can help you to save your portfolio also a bit, and more or less even the chart patterns now seems to be indicating some kind of strength, so may not be a bad place to look at. But yeah, I mean, broadly, if you see, metals are trending well. PSU also is making a good comeback. uh, in fact, trading above this trend line today was a big deal. Need to see, I mean, how well does it still you know holds out. But the main culprit was mainly Reliance, because it has a huge weightage on the index, and that kind of dragged it. Otherwise, if you see the other indices, it was, I mean, okay, not a very very bad picture as such. I mean, while index might say 0.19 0.2%, but I think if you see the breadth was also reasonably good. I mean, because in bad markets, you might end up seeing 700, 500 kind of advances. So in that sense, it was decent as well. So yeah, the broader point is that over here you need to stick to the outperformers. I think that is where this game is turning out to be. Uh, I mean, if you end up seeing, I had mentioned some other day about Bharat Forge, right? Why that? Because it was trading above the averages. I mean, see these. I'm telling you this because these are few of the calls that we had put out, right? So over here, you can see that all of them are trending at the 40-day, and basically these are the ones that are actually, seems to be outperforming. So that's where you need to be, try to find those setups. I mean, like I showed you, right now, HDFC Life on a weekly chart, we can see this happening. In fact, if you go to RMI scanner, and if you end up scanning for weekly buys, okay, for weekly buys I'm saying, and you make a broader basket of, say, Nifty total market, you might end up getting some interesting results. Let me just try and find it for y'all. So Abbott, no. ACI, no. But you see something like AIIL. I don't know which is this stock, but you see the pattern. I mean, it is a very nice pattern, ideal, like we want, right? Astra Micro. Also, I mean, defense is also a nice theme. That is again making a comeback, I would say. So in that sense, Astra Micro also looks good. I mean, not exactly holding above the 40, but nevertheless, it has been in that outperformer list as well. So that looks interesting. Then Bandhan Bank would not be the case, but Bosch. So you can see Bosch also, going back to the averages and then again moving up. So, maybe, you will find a lot of positionally good ideas. If you try and search it on the RMI weekly scan, because most of the stocks are now, trying to come out of this consolidation. So we should be able to see some interesting results over there. Uh, DVs is another one. GSFC, no. HDFC Life, I already discussed. Jindal Steel. Jindal Steel also, you can see that it is holding above the averages. So that's where you might have to do some bit of work, but I think try finding the ones which are doing well on the weekly. maybe, if this leg of up move has to unfold, I think it is the weekly RMI where we are getting bullish crossovers. I think that's where the opportunity may end up lying, because these are the ones that are now showing fresh signs of momentum. And if those stocks end up holding above their averages as well, then it is like a bonus for us, right? So that's how I'm thinking about this. More or less, Nifty, I mean, still continues to be range bound and a bit irritating, to be honest, because we are not getting a breakout. But I'm very hopeful that at some point of time we do end up seeing a breakout. So fingers crossed for that. Because I mean, while I've repeated this multiple times, but FI's long positioning at 11%, just indicates a lot of bearishness. And I think that this should eventually resolve and at some point of time go up. I don't know, it go in next 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, I don't know. But I think that is the major trade which one should be looking at from a medium term perspective. So that's the thing that I have. Himanshu, aluminum, I mean, this is more of strike stuff. But if you see, aluminum is anyways on fire, and that's why Nalco and Hindalco are doing well, right? So, so yeah, I mean, that is the story over there. Any questions? Please let me know. Any questions, please let me know. Unfortunately, there is not much new to talk about, but there were few things that caught my eye today. Was the way life insurance companies are coming back. Some metal stocks that are now trying to turn around. So those were few that I had. I mean, that I wanted to share. And basically, the more important highlight was to tell you the kind of setups that you should be looking at, because those are the ones that are actually performing even in the sideways market. खुशवंत जी, आप आई मीन आप बताते हो, बट मुझे मतलब मैंने आपको अपना व्यू बता दिया. That is how I am thinking. I am not sure whether it will come on. And the way the setup is, I mean, I would be more interested in the bullish side of the things, rather than trying to time those 100, 200, 300 points on the downside, because not many people realize this, but this is the kind of setup that can even lead to 1500, 2000 points in few months time. So you might not want to time those 100, 200 points and get caught in that noise. So I mean, that is how I am thinking about it. People may have a very different view, uh, but yeah. So NCTG, your question, I would again come to the same point. What is the time frame that you are looking at? That is where you need to concentrate. I have told you earlier as well, there is no point seeing all the four time frames. I mean, if you're trading for 5 days, how does a monthly RMI matter to you, right? So you need to focus on what is your time frame you are looking at, and then focus on the dual time frames that I've spoken about. I mean, if you have a 6 months, then watch what is happening in weekly and monthly, and take your decision accordingly. Any other questions? Yeah, so NCTG, your approach is right. You have to think from daily and weekly perspective, get a view from a weekly chart, and if the view is bullish on weekly chart, look on that. I mean, look out at the daily chart where it can be a good buy. That is how you can use the dual time frame and get your entry point also optimized. Yeah, sure, Mahesh. You can type your question till then. When tracking a trade, I have observed that when RMI is at the top and tilting down, is it still a positive crossover? Uh, it's hmm, I did not understand your question, Dinesh, completely. When taking a trade, I observe that when RMI is at the top and tilting down, is it still a positive crossover? So crossover is, see, Dinesh, there are two things over here. See, one is the RMI line which is green, and the other one is the signal line. Okay, so RMI dipping and tipping from the top, it means that it is losing momentum. So at some point of time, a bearish crossover can happen if such trend prevails. That is what it means. But RMI turning down indicates that it is now losing momentum. That is how I would put it. So NCTG, I believe that you are you're looking for the buying opportunity over there. So if the daily is in new sell, right? So for a fresh entry point of view, it doesn't make sense, right? So so that is how I would put it. Whenever Mahesh says that whenever daily cross happens, most of the time it will consolidate for 2 days. So, Mahesh, that may or may not be true. Sometimes you do end up getting that follow through. Now, see, I'll give you one example. Okay, Apollo Tire on a daily time frame, it gave a bullish crossover yesterday, right? Today it did give a move. So it's not necessarily true that may happen, and there is no study for that as well. Okay, there is no study for that whether it will consolidate for 2 or 3 days. But but honestly, that is more like trying to do micro timing, and which may not always be helpful, because when you are thinking of a daily cycle, right, for the daily RMI to play out, then you would want then basically you would expect that the low should not break, and eventually even if there is a consolidation, the low should not break and it keeps rising higher, right? Like say something like Nifty index, the same thing is happening, right? We saw a bullish crossover over here, next day there was a consolidation, now again there is an up move. Now, after 2 days, it has come down. So the expectation will be that as long as this low holds, this RMI cycle can play out and can continue to stretch as well. Okay, that is how is the ideal way to think about it. But after a crossover, what happens in the next 2 days? I mean, there is frankly no. I mean, we haven't studied about it, but broadly, if the trend is up, then directionally it should break out on the upside, is what I can say. NCT, what about exit? So NCT, I think I have addressed this many times. It depends on what you're looking at. Ideally, it should be the 40-day that should not break on the downside. Okay, that is like the last cutoff point that you can have for your bullish idea. See, I'm not trying to get into this because every time you ask me about Bharti Airtel, I want to tell you the process, which I think I have communicated many times, but I don't specifically. I mean, I don't want to give a view out on something, okay? Because I'm not sure what is your thought process. I'm not sure what is the kind of risk you are taking, and so on. So that is how I would put it. Any Akash, when we get a trending move in Nifty index, what swing reading? So, Akash, it all depends on the market as well. But usually, when you end up getting a swing reading of say 8 or 10 or something like that in single digits, is where you can end up expecting a good trending move. So you can see over here. So of course, the trend also should be up during that time, and if that happens and you end up seeing those single digit returns, then in the next 2 to 3 days, it is very likely that you can see a strong momentum in the Nifty index. Auto Auto ETF, PSU ETF. Can we discuss the graph on RRG as well? They are into leading. Yeah, so broadly they have been trending higher only. I mean, if you see, I believe you are referring to PSU ETF. Okay. I mean, so of course we are seeing Nifty PSC index. So over here, I mean, they are trending higher, and this is what I mentioned, that see over here. In fact, PSE seems to have broken out. So ideally, if they are trending above the averages, it's good. Similarly, with auto, they have been trending higher above the averages. So as long as they are trending above the averages, I mean, they are more or less good. And in that case, maybe any buying opportunity in the short term should be viewed positively. Okay, NCTG, I'll try and explain you probably for the final time. Uh, so over here, while there is a sell crossover that is happening, okay, the averages are not being breached. Even if the average is breached by a small margin, maybe I will give it a benefit of doubt, because more or less it has been trending higher on the averages, and that's where the bullish idea will be. Now, when it comes to the medium term, it is all trading above the weekly averages and so on. So from a medium term perspective as well, the trend seems to be okay. Okay, I hope this addresses your question. Okay, I think it's 5:33, and I mean, I think I've tried to cover all the queries. Baburaj says that we primarily rely on RMI crossover. What other indicators? So Babura, that's what I told, right? I mean, that's why we have given that RMI setup, in that we use 20 and 40 day. Okay, so if the prices are above the 40 day and the bullish crossover happens, it is like you can say in your terms, the doubles confirmation, that things should. I mean, the momentum should really pick up now. So Babura, you will just see in that RMI setup also that we put 20 and 40 day exponential averages, right? It needs to trend above that, then the reliability is high. Yeah. Okay. So once again, thanks a lot for joining today's session, and let's catch up tomorrow at 5 p.m.